What's up, everybody? We got a crazy full show, lots to talk about. So you know what to do. Hit like and subscribe, and let's get after it. Hi, hello, and welcome to your favorite Average to Greats podcast. Call it what you want. I'm Conrad Dino, also known as Jimmy Conrad, alongside Chuck Wagon, Charlie Davies, and Big Tones, Tony Miola. And we have an awesome show for everybody. Lots to dig into. We've got the FIFA Club World Cup having their draw. We'll see with the Sounders and Inter Miami fall out in their groups there. We'll talk about the players of the year for U.S. soccer. We'll talk about some recent performances. Tyler Adams was immense today. We're going to get into MLS Cup and all that good stuff. It is a nice full show. We're excited to be here with you guys. Big Tones, coming to you first, though, because let's do a little MLS Cup preview. Me and Chuck got into it. We gave our predictions. LA Galaxy, New York Red Bulls, December 7th, Saturday. It's all kicking off. No Ricky Pooch, no party for LA Galaxy. Marco Royce maybe out as well. Whoa, what? What, Chuck?
What do you mean no party? It still could be a party without.
Yes, but not as fun of a party without Ricky Pooch. You could agree to that.
Yes, agreed.
Okay. Now, Tones, what are you saying now? Has anything changed? You've had a couple days to digest any injury concerns for either team. Your former club, New York Red Bulls, versus the team that's super hot, the LA Galaxy, without one of their star players. Where are you leaning? Let everybody know, Big Tones.
Well, Jimmy, I am out here in LA getting ready to cover the finals on the radio at Sirius, and I'm in the hotel with a bunch of Red Bull fans. I will tell you that they're starting to pack this hotel out here in Redondo Beach. Right? Didn't Red Bull ownership bring out like 700 fans or something like that? Good on them, by the way, for doing that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We were talking the other day. I said my motto is always like defense wins, right? That wins championships. That's always what I go with. They've given up the Red Bulls 2 goals. The Ricky Pooch thing is a big thing for me, and I know they've won games, and they're certainly capable of winning games. The LA Galaxy are unquestionably the favorite here in this one. At home, haven't lost in this building the entire season. They do have that one home loss technically on their record, but that was a neutral site against LAFC. So by the end of the show, I'm going to give you my prediction. That's what I'm going to do.
He's dodging us. What? That is an expert weave. He's dodging and weaving
keep
us.
That from us. Wow.
Experience.
Okay.
It's experience, Jimmy.
That's experience talking. So now Ricky Pooch missed 5 games, I believe, this year with the LA Galaxy, and the Galaxy won 3 of those, lost 1, and drew 1. And Greg Vanny said in one of his recent pressers that they like having that experience, knowing that they can win games without him, and they think that'll help them have the confidence they need to break down the Red Bulls. However, my big concern is, let's think about one of the matchups. Emil Forsberg is a beast when he gets going for the New York Red Bulls. I mean, he really is there, for a lack of a better description. They're Ricky Pooch, right? He gets the ball, he drives the game, he's making things happen. Mm-hmm. Who's going to slow him down? You got Cerrillo, of course. You got Mark Delgado, who might come in. We'll see if Marco Royce plays, but if they can't slow down Forsberg, it could be a long game for the Galaxy.
Well, it's not only just Forsberg, it's Lewis Morgan, right?
Yeah, he's been excellent this season.
I think those two work well off each other. Forsberg controls the tempo for the Red Bulls in the attacking third. But if you're looking at the Red Bulls, they don't have like a quote-unquote number 9, like a real striker. They're very good in transition, and Lewis Morgan is the one that usually capitalizes from those transition moments. Dante Van Zier can be hit or miss, but I think if the Galaxy are smart, they won't allow Forsberg to float in between the lines and get in the pocket and be able to turn and run at them. So, like Tony said, defense wins championships typically, but both these teams gave up 50 goals throughout the year. The only added bonus for the LA Galaxies is they had a better attack than they did defense. So I think when you're looking at that, the Galaxy just have so many weapons. They have so many players who can hurt you in that regard. I think the Red Bulls are a little bit better on set pieces. And I look at like Andre Reyes is just a real difficult problem to stop. He reminds me of like Gabriel Magalhaes of Arsenal in the MLS version, just an attacking center back who runs in the box. He's very good at timing. And when he usually gets on the end of things, he puts it on target. So I think that might be the advantage for Red Bulls. But if the Galaxy plays smart, and they won the last time they played MLS Cup at home against my team in 2014. And it's so funny because Diego Fagundes was a part of our Revolution side. And here he is now on the Galaxy side, and he can win MLS Cup.
He could
for the
start
Galaxy.
too. He might be
Yes.
starting for Marco Royce
Yeah.
if Royce is not available. Tony, we got to come to you because, yes, we can talk about Paintsel and Joveljic and Peck in the front three for the Galaxy. We can talk about Lewis Morgan. Great shout with him. 13 goals and 7 assists in 29 games to the Red Bulls this season. Only played 6 last year for Inter Miami due to a hip injury. So great to see him re-emerging as a top talent in the league. But the goalkeepers, this game could really come down to the goalkeepers. So who do you think has the edge? You got McCarthy in goal for the Galaxy, and then you got Cornell in goal for the Red Bulls.
Yeah.
Who do you think will have a bigger impact in this game? Because that could be the difference, just like it was when Kansas City won MLS Cup and you were the MVP in 2000.
I think Cornell has to have one of those games that a goalkeeper needs in the finals, right? Because I think LA is going to attack more than the Red Bulls are. McCarthy, I think, has been great in goal for them, right? It's a tough job. You throw so many guys forward. You're constantly facing counterattacks. Charlie talked about Lewis Morgan and his. I think the Lewis Morgan Emmy Garces matchup is going to be a lot of fun because I got to imagine Greg Vanney doesn't want Lewis Morgan running against Yoshida, the captain, right? He'd rather Van Zier and Yoshida match up, and Lewis Morgan and Emmy Garces, who Greg Vanney says has this incredible recovery speed. But with regards to the goalkeepers, I think Cornell, an international goalkeeper, has a little bit of an edge. I also think he's going to have to be the sharper of the two, and he has been during the playoffs. And that's why I said defense, because I'm looking at the Red Bulls. They won, counting Leagues Cup, they won 2 of 20 games coming into the playoffs, counting the Leagues Cup. In the league, they had won 3 of 18 games. That's not great. A portion of that, a portion of that sits right in the middle of Forsberg being out of that lineup. So it goes to show you how important he is for the New York Red Bulls. The whole Forsberg thing, I think Cerrillo for the LA Galaxy may mark him man-to-man in the midfield because he's a guy that roams. He's not a guy, he'll run and he'll chase forward and he'll start the pressure. Forsberg, and I did a bunch of their games at the end of the year, but he's not a guy that wants to get into a track meet. He'll run back when he has to, but he's about when they win the ball, starting to counterattack, right? And he makes really, really good decisions. If Cornell picks off a corner, you'll see him. He'll immediately look for Forsberg on a throw, on a long kick, something that will get them out really quick. So, again, I'll give you my prediction by the end of the show when I figure out what the hell it's going to be.
That's going to be your final thought. This is going to be a great game. And I want to give a shout-out once again to Sandra Schwartz, the manager for New York Red Bulls. Played a 4-4-2 pretty much the whole regular season, a diamond in midfield, switches to a back 3, and I think that was to address Columbus, right, in their first where they had to play the best out of 3. Got success there. Cornell saved a whole bunch of penalties in game 1, obviously put them in a good position. They won in game 2, and they've stuck with that back 3 since. That allows John Tolkien to get forward, and I think he's very good in getting into those spaces, so something else that the Galaxy have to pay attention to. But I do agree with you that ultimately the Galaxy are going to drive this game. Then it's up to them to manage the transition play by the New York Red Bulls and any counterattacks that come their way. All right, I know we're going to get into Tone's prediction. I want to get to the MLS Best 11. Okay, go ahead, Chuck. I see your finger up. Go ahead.
Just one thing.
One thing.
On John Tolkien, right? He does get up and down, but who's he crossing to?
Well, in theory, either Van Zier or Morgan, but
yeah, but you know, it's not like there's a target necessarily.
Sure.
That
a great point.
You know, like if you had an Olivier Giroud who probably fits into that as someone who just stays high and whipping in the box, but they don't have a quote unquote striker who's very good at getting on the end of crosses in the box. So, you know, it's kind of I get the idea of having someone down the flank and providing width, but it's ultimately like, who are you crossing to, you know?
Yeah, no, that's a good shout. I still think it gives him a little bit more. I don't know if he's asked to stay at home a little bit more, then I think they miss out on the energy and spark that he can bring going forward. But to your point, if he's hitting aimless crosses in, then that doesn't necessarily help their cause either. I don't know, something to consider. All right, let's get to MLS Best 11 because we could talk about MLS Cup all day and obviously have a recap of that. Tones is going to be living it in person, which will be very cool. MLS Best 11. Here's my favorite part about it. It's in a 3-3-4 formation, which is everybody's favorite. Everybody's favorite is a 3-3-4 family. Okay, of these players, I think only two defend. So you got Kalina in goal, who was the goalkeeper of the year from Charlotte FC. You got Jordi Alba as one of the back 3. That dude doesn't like to defend, and he'll do it, but he doesn't like to.
No, but he would be he would be the left back in a MLS Best 11. So we can at least,
yeah, that's fair.
He would be in the team. Obviously, he's not a true defender in that sense, but because he provides so much at that left back spot, yes, he deserves to be in the Best 11.
Okay. Let me get through the lineup and then we can chat. We got Yeimar and Moreira, who was from Columbus Crew, who won MLS Defender of the Year. Congrats to him. I won it back in 2005. That's my flex of the day. We got Evander, Ricky Pooch. You got Acosta in the midfields. Nobody's defending there. You got Benteke, Messi, Cucho, and Bouanga up top. That is, I don't know. I don't know if there's enough ball to share with everybody there. That is a crazy Best 11. And I feel like there might be some snubs. Luis Suarez was pretty important to Inter Miami when Messi missed over half the season. Gabriel Peck was unreal for the Galaxy. He won Newcomer of the Year. I don't know if they could have found room for either one of those two guys. Also, we should mention no Americans. No Americans for the first time ever in an MLS Best 11.
Is that right? First time ever?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, everyone loves a good 3-3-4. We love a 3-3-4.
No, we're
yeah,
not
I don't. Who would be the Americans that would get in there? I mean, we'd have to go through it. I mean, Schulte, if he had a better year, I mean, goalkeepers would be considered for sure. I was looking at that. I think I had Jackson Reagan over Yeimar. In that I had a 4 because they give you when you vote, right? They give us the 3 or 4 different formations. I don't know if you guys remember. Was there a 3-3-4 formation we were able to pick from? I don't think so. Yeah, I wonder if we did sort of, one formation, what that would look like. Of course, a lot of this is a popularity contest. But when you talk about, you said Luis Suarez, not going in, you're talking about 5 forwards then. But when I grew up, Jimmy, you know what the formation was for everybody? 2 defenders, 3 midfielders, and 5 forwards. Right,
yeah,
you had an inside right and an outside right with center forward, obviously on the other side. So maybe that's what they're going back to. But yeah, maybe we're going to see a new trend start next year, the 3-3-4.
Yeah, Busquets could have been another shout too. Again, not an American, but obviously quite valuable to Miami. So much so that when he didn't play, they weren't winning games. Is there anybody that you think?
Jimmy,
what?
He played the most minutes as a field player for Inter Miami in the record-setting team. And he doesn't get in the Best 11? What is this?
Yeah, well, who would you take out then? Because all these guys have put up numbers and were valuable to their respective teams. And I can understand having some balance.
Are we forgetting that there's Best 11 for numbers, or there's Best 11 for doing the best on the teams that did the best, right? I think it's like similar to an MVP conversation. There can be someone who puts up ridiculous numbers, if their team is
sucks.
middle of the table or bottom of the table versus
just
the
average
best,
to good,
average good versus the best player on the most impactful player on the best team, right? That for me is always MVP. The guy that helps his team win, and he's the best player on that team. Like that for me that's the essence of MVP, because you're the best player on a winning team. Like, you're making the players around you better. So I think that both Busquets and Suarez, like, how are they not in this team? And Evander, as good as he was, the Portland Timbers were average to good.
Average to good. They were average to good. Yeah, it's an interesting conversation for sure. And I wonder what MLS makes of it. Yes, to your point, Tones, there is an element of a popularity contest. But even when I look at the overall stats for the league for the whole season, top 10 in scoring, there's no Americans on that list. When I look at assists, there's no Americans, at least in the top 5 that I'm seeing here. That concerns me a little bit, and it's obviously a bigger conversation. That why aren't we creative players? We have some obviously in our younger pipelines, but they're not getting those opportunities as of yet.
I mean, I'm sure we can come up with some. Trent Alexander-Arnold on the right-hand side. If you did a Premier League list, you'd have the majority of foreign players on there. Right. If you did a Serie A list, there'd be a lot of foreign players on there. Maybe not as much as the Premier League, because it's a little bit more Italian centric, if you will. But like, that's kind of where our league is, right? I mean, it's a lot of the flavor comes from this beauty that we bring different types of players in, and they come in and are successful. So, but yeah, you'd love to see outside of goalkeepers and center backs, you'd love to see some of these guys make these 11s. But I think we're going to get away from that because it's just not the popular choice. And quite honestly, you're paying those guys. You're paying Luis Suarez, and you're paying Lionel Messi, and you're paying Christian Benteke, who's on that list, right, who was outstanding for a really bad team this year. You're paying them to score goals. That's what you're bringing them in here for. If not, you wouldn't spend all that money on those guys. Right. So I'm not too surprised by this, but yeah, you'd love to see a couple of Americans break into this thing.
Yeah, when I look at the Premier League, just because you brought it up, from last season, Phil Foden was Player of the Year. He's English. Cole Palmer was tremendous. You had Bukayo Saka. I think all three of those guys were in the best 11. I'd have to look at it. Maybe Trent makes it, maybe not from last season, but obviously playing a little bit better under Arne Slot. So they have some players that and are creative players. I guess that's where I'm going with this a little bit, Chuck.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not going to argue with you, but at the same time, I mean,
that's smart.
Are we surprised? Like
no.
So it's kind of what we expected.
All right. Yeah,
like
we can do a whole episode on that alone, I'm sure.
It reminds me of when we talk about U.S. men's national team players coming back to MLS, right? If you had those players in MLS, they would be a lot of them you would see in the best 11, I'm sure, as all-stars, best 11. But is that what we want for our players? Do we want them to be MLS best 11s and all-stars, or do we want them where they are playing and competing? And it's not just the general term Europe. It's obviously going to the right situation. Sure, I think that's super important. You're not just going to Europe to go to Europe. One, you better be going to Europe because that's where you want to go to get that's better, right?
No. I would say that the English players that are in that best 11, let's say for the Premier League, they're in the Premier, that they're staying at what they consider the best league in the world. Whereas if we had our best Americans playing in MLS, I'm sure some of them would be sprinkled in our best 11. I like that take, Chuck. I like that a lot. So we're definitely not arguing. All right, let's get into the FIFA Club World Cup draw that happened today. It took about 5 hours longer than it should have, but that is right on brand for FIFA and all the pageantry that they like to do and get everybody dressed up to get some balls out of a bowl. And we're going to talk specifically about the two CONCACAF teams, or excuse me, the two MLS teams, I should say. In Group A, you got Palmeiras, you got Porto, you got Al Ahly, and you got Inter Miami. Many are saying that this is one of the easiest groups in the competition. Maybe I'm going to air quotes, rigged, right? That's what everybody wants to say to that. Group B, Sounders got absolutely hosed. They got hosed. They got PSG. They got Atletico Madrid. They got Botafogo, who just won the Copa Libertadores. And then there's the Seattle Sounders.
All I know is if I'm playing for Seattle Sounders, this is why I want to play in that competition.
Yeah, of course. I would love that.
It's that simple. Typically, if you're an MLS team and you're playing against Atletico Madrid or PSG or any of these big clubs, Real Madrid, it's a friendly. And it's a friendly. We all know it's a friendly because a lot of these guys, they come here and they know I just got to be here because of marketing. The club wants me to play. I don't want to get injured. They're not playing with everything when they go into these matches. With this Club World Cup,
stages. Maybe not in the group stages.
No, but no. In Club World Cup, this is a real competition.
All right.
The players who play, you're playing for a reason. There's a purpose. It's not just a friendly. It's a competition. So you're gonna get the best version of them at that point. They could be worn out, right? They could be tired because of the club fixtures, the schedule fixture. But in terms of what you're gonna get from these teams, the teams are coming to win. So if I'm a Seattle Sounders player, I'm cheering because I'm like, this is where you get tested. This is where you see how good you are. This is where you see, hey, I gave my best and I showed I could play against, the best in Europe or some of the best in Europe. So I love this.
All right. So
man, who did the Sounders piss off, Jimmy? Because that is some Botafogo. You mentioned they're not only won Copa Lib, they're about to win the league this week.
Right.
As well. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's proper. And what's funny is that the FIFA Club World Cup had 8 teams before, and a couple teams had to start the tournament, and then they maybe would play Man City's, Real Madrid's, excuse me, in the semifinals. And that was the tournament. It wasn't very long. And when they switched it to 32 teams, I thought, yeah, what a money grab, you know? But now that it's here, I've seen the draw, I'm actually pretty excited about it. I'm not going to lie. So, Tones, do you think either one of these MLS teams has a chance? Inter Miami, on paper, a little bit easier than the Sounders. But if Inter Miami doesn't shore up their defense, it's going to be a short tournament for them.
It's Al Ali first, right? In the first game
That's
for Inter
right.
Miami, that you have to get 3 points, right? If you're going to have a chance, and then you got to hope that something else, you get another result, and then some draws in some of the other games. But I'm sure everyone's looking at this group, Palmeiras and Porto. They're looking at Al Ali and going, "Hey, that's the game we got to get 3 points in, right?" So but Inter Miami's not a shoo-in in that one. Yeah, I think it's gonna be hard for either of these teams. Sounders. I mean, that's about as tough as it gets, man.
I mean,
look at the rest. Yeah, that's really tough.
Poor guys. I mean, yeah, I ultimately I agree with you, Chuck. If you're a player, like, bring those guys on. Like, at some point, you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. That cliche, but this is a big opportunity to cut your teeth against some very good players and very good teams, and could in some ways be in the shop window, especially for some of the younger players that they get to get run out by Brian Schmetzer. What do you say, Chuck? What are your expectations
one of
for
my
these two teams?
One of my closest friends, while I played in France at FC Sochaux, is on the technical staff of Al Ali, and he was hyped. He thinks that they're going to win that group easily. That he thinks that they're going to be underrated because a lot of people don't know about Al Ali. They're perennial champions. Like they're a strong side. So I think he thinks, hey, we're going to fly under the radar. We're going to surprise a lot of teams, and he's pumped. But I think Inter Miami have a really good shot if they can strengthen the roster. And it's going to be interesting after this season's done. Don Garber just signs an extension, right? All the MLS owners, they love what he's done. He's obviously continued to grow the league. Will they bend the rules? Will they start to change the structure of how MLS rosters are built? I think that's a big question, because if we want to be taken serious, I think the Seattle Sounders and Inter Miami need to be added, have the flexibility to add players so that we can challenge some of these teams. Now, the Sounders are going to have a really difficult time, even if we do change the rules. But I think Inter Miami could possibly strengthen to compete and get out of that group.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if this is an event or that's a catalyst, Tones.
That's where I was going to go, Jimmy. You hit the nail on the head. I wonder if this kind of moves the needle, because we keep talking about taking the training wheels off, and we've done that in so many ways in the league, right? We've made so many advancements, but there's a portion of owners that really want to see this thing just kind of open up, and there's a portion of owners that don't, and there's a league right now that doesn't want to see this thing open up. I've had conversations on an airplane one day with an executive at MLS talking about, well, if we open it up, then it's, that some teams won't be able to catch up. And I'm thinking, I'm not saying, I'm thinking to myself, well, this is kind of how sports runs, right? You got to have some rules, right? You just can't be, you just can't live with no rules at all. But there are some owners that want to spend big. Look, what the Moss brothers did should never be underestimated. Now, do I think that Inter Miami is really balanced in their way of doing it? No, it's not a balanced side at all. But if you just took Lionel Messi's money, or how about half of Lionel Messi's money, and let all the teams spend that much money that want to spend, think about how much better the rosters would be. And I think they need to be bigger. I think that the depth needs to be bigger, which is where we talked about this a little bit the other day. I think guys are exhausted by the end of the year, and the teams who have the most depth in their roster, and when I say depth, everyone has the same number, but the drop off isn't the same from, players number 12, 13, 14 to the bottom for some teams, right? Like, it's a little bit more evenly matched there. Those are the teams that generally succeed in the league and last longer. But yeah, I'm with you. I wonder, because there's a chance, and I don't want to piss any Seattle Sounders fans off or Inter Miami, that they don't win a game in this thing, right? Either of the two teams. There's a real chance of that happening. We hope it doesn't happen. But then what if you go 2 or 3 tournaments where your MLS teams don't win a game, right? Then you have to but okay, it's a bad look. But don't you sit in the offices in New York and go, hey, we're talking about being X, Y, and Z as a league. The only way to do that is how? Is to bring better players in all the time, right? And money, spend money. So you just wonder if that's where it goes. I don't know. We don't know. We'll find out. It's just a thought that comes to mind.
Dollar bills, y'all. That's what we're asking for. All right, we're going to take our first break of Call It What You Want. When we come back, we're going to get into some conversations about the male soccer player of the year for U.S. soccer. And we're looking ahead to some big games abroad. Don't go anywhere.
Soccer brings out a different character in me.
Captain America has taken his team on his shoulders.
He doesn't like to be called Captain America, but I don't care. You are Captain America.
Take a sneak peek into my trailer.
Turn that off.
Christian Pulisic is captain of the U.S. national team.
First time an American has been a main player.
Pulisic won it for Milan.
On one of the biggest clubs in the world. No pressure.
Every game under scrutiny.
I'm a pretty private person. I've got the camera in my face a lot. No, don't do that.
His leadership is unbelievable. I would like him to be a little bit the bad guy.
Christian's never wanted the spotlight.
These are the kind of goals that create legends.
You don't make documentaries about everybody.
I want to be the best player in the world.
Paramount Plus brings you an exclusive all-access window into the life of America's biggest soccer star with its brand new docuseries, Pulisic. Go behind the scenes, on and off the pitch, as American captain Christian Pulisic navigates his stellar season abroad with AC Milan, leads the U.S. men's national team internationally, and prepares for the big one, the 2026 World Cup on home soil. Stream all the new Paramount Plus original docuseries, Pulisic, presented by Michelob Ultra, featuring soccer legends Clint Dempsey, Weston McKennie, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Jurgen Klopp, and many more, premiering December 9th. That is going to be fun. I look forward to tuning in to that.
It's going to be fun.
Into Call It What You Want. Yeah, soccer legends. I was expecting to see Clint Dempsey, Weston McKennie, Charlie Davies, Tony. I didn't see you guys' name on that list.
I'm in there.
Well, I don't know why you didn't make the final cut in the.
It's crazy. They didn't want to hook me up. I'm looking at Pete Radovich for that one. He just said he's going to be a surprise. We want to surprise people.
Yeah, you're an Easter egg for everybody.
It's a surprise and delight. You know, that's what they call it. Surprise and delight. Hey,
wait, did you get to spend time with him or what?
No, it was when I was getting filmed for the European destination, the Champions League night, which will air next Thursday. I got to go to Paris and to Madrid. So incredible.
Yeah, me and Tony aren't jealous about that.
Wow, look, another flex.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Flexing on us all day. You know what else you're flexing on is that jersey you're wearing. That's actually a big Tones, Tony Meola jersey. What year is that,
Like
Tones?
that one.
And he signed it.
Yeah,
I got to get one.
I think, Jimmy, that's a good question.
90, based on what I'm seeing on that, that's
I'm gonna say 2000.
2000. Okay.
2000-ish, 2001. Man.
I'll also add it's signed, so this one is real special.
Yeah, I need to get
That's a good one. That's one of my favorite ones. Yeah.
Now, Tones, we got Doug Douglas, which is an awesome name, in the chat saying Tony had those ugly late 80s, early 90s jerseys.
Hey, Doug is trying to trigger people here today.
What is happening, Doug?
Come on,
Doug. Come on,
Douglas.
Dude,
the jersey in 1990 is one of the best jerseys ever. That jersey with all the paint stuff going on and all that jazz. Yeah, that was one of the nicer ones. Yeah. I don't know what Doug's talking about.
Come on, Doug.
You can't get me. You can't get me.
Did you go colorful before? Jorge Campos. Or was Jorge Campos the one that kind of went all?
Oh, we both came in. Yeah, we both came in at the same time, and that was his style, So I really couldn't go that way. There were a couple jerseys that were presented to me over the years, but I literally said I can't do that because someone else is doing it. So, yeah. But look, I really, man, I miss the days of goalkeeper jerseys being like they stood out. Like now they're just boring. They're just boring
anymore.
To me. They're probably great material and all that jazz, and they got all the technology, and you don't sweat or you sweat or you don't freeze or you're warm or whatever it is. Man, they're just boring jerseys, man.
Yeah, they are. And by the way, you also pulled it off with the ponytail, Steven Seagal mullet.
It's a different level, Chaz.
Hey, you were light years ahead of everybody. Are you kidding me?
Listen, I would have paid top dollar to see Tony in all pink like a flamingo. You know what I mean? Out there.
Oh, with the ponytail?
With the ponytail.
Oh my God.
Kicking ass and taking names.
We're talking Pulp Fiction here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is Miola Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
I would pay a lot of money to see.
I would have wore a pink one. I would have wore one, but there was really nothing. I don't ever remember one being presented that was pink, to be honest. But yeah, I would have wore one for sure.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we brought Pulisic into the conversation. He's got the documentary coming up. Again, that is on December 9th. That's premiered on Paramount Plus. Make sure you check it out. He's also nominated for U.S. Soccer Male Player of the Year. He's one of the nominees. You got Christian Pulisic. You got Ricardo Pepi. You got Flo Balogun, Tim Ream, and Anthony Robinson.
No disrespect, Jimmy, to all of the candidates here, but Christian runs away with this easily.
Yes, of course.
It's not even
close.
Question. And number 2 is Anthony.
Okay. And then the other 3 are just there to fill it out, fill out the rest of the ballot.
Yes.
Who is number 3? Yeah, because I'm with you, Charlie. You 1 and 2 are they're set in stone.
Yep.
Yeah, Pulisic can break his tie with Landon for the most awards as the male player of the year for U.S. Soccer. You have it would be.
I'm going to go Pepe 3.
I actually like the Pepe shout too at 3.
2024.
Scored a lot of goals. Scored a game winner in the Champions League against Sevilla.
But you got to, you throw in. I think that's recency bias. You got to throw in minutes.
Well, that's 2024. It has to be recency bias.
I mean, his minutes have been the same all of 2024, right?
But it's the calendar year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been the same at the end of last year. Was the same thing, right?
23-24 season.
I don't know, dude.
I don't know either. But Flo obviously hasn't lit it up at Monaco. He has his moments.
No. Yeah.
So Tim Ream, recency bias hasn't looked great for the U.S. But yeah, I mean, overall,
at this point, let's just do 1, 2, and then a salute for just making the list.
That's fine. I'm good with that. All right. Any snubs that maybe anybody that got snubbed out of that list?
Yeah, Weston McKennie played a full season at Juve. Like, what are we talking? Yeah. What the hell is he not on that list?
Yeah, he probably should have squeezed somebody out.
Probably.
Well, I think they tried to balance out. You have Christian, you have Jedi, so you have like a defender and
stop it.
Flo and Pepe are the strikers, and then Ream's another. I don't know. Yeah, you could have thrown. Weston could have been in there for sure.
1,000%.
Okay, let's go to the young player of the year. U.S.
Young
Soccer
player.
Young Male Player of the Year.
Ooh.
You got Mathis Albert, who is 15
Tessmann.
years old. 15 years old, playing for the U19s for Borussia Dortmund. You got Gianluca Busio, who I feel like he's 30 years old, but here he is as one of the Young Male Player of the Year. Tanner Tessmann, obviously in the mix. Nico Chikaris, who is killing it for our 20s and doesn't play as much for the Quakes. I'd say last season. We'll see if Bruce Arena can utilize him a little bit better than the previous coaches. And David Vasquez, who's playing for Philadelphia Union second team. Was good for our U20s as well as Golden Boot winner during the CONCACAF U20 tournament. So a lot of good opportunities here, but I think you got to go with Tessmann, yeah?
Yeah, I think it's an easy.
These are Olympics, right?
I think he was better. Him and Busio were pretty close, but I think in the end Tessmann was better throughout. And it's funny you brought up Bruce Arena with San Jose. He's not big on playing young players.
Yeah.
He likes established.
He might not have any
players,
other options, though.
Veterans. Yeah, sure, but maybe he can bring in a lot of players. But so I wouldn't count on.
You're
maybe
going
there's
Tessmann automatically here. You're going. I would go. Yeah. I lean Busio in this one. I mean, he's been starting in Serie A for now with his club. He goes through promotion.
Tessmann did that too.
I don't know that it's I don't know if it's a slam dunk for me for Tessmann. I'd make an argument for Busio.
I'd give him the edge.
I just want to obviously put a caveat here. So
I love caveats.
Tessmann was better than Busio while they both were competing for promotion, right? I think you might be a little slighted because he goes to Lyon and is not playing as much as Busio's playing in Serie A.
But that's 2024.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah.
We're talking about a whole calendar year.
Yeah,
right?
well, he's been there for half a calendar year.
We're talking 2 months. You're taking 2 months out of the 12 is what you're.
Well, he's been there since August, right? So it's a half a season. Where it's the same in the beginning, right? You got a half a season in the fall, and then you got a half a season in the spring. So
and I'd throw in his last national team appearance, Tessmann. If that doesn't win it over for you, I don't know what will.
Yeah, that's fair. We should probably do a poll on YouTube though. Let's put a poll up.
Yeah, let's
Tessmann
get the poll
or Busio.
up.
And then just to throw down any snubs.
Where's that poll? Can I go on that phone and get that poll?
So in his third MLS season, Diego Luna, I'm gonna throw him in there as a potential sub. 8 goals and 12 assists.
Yeah, Nico didn't play at all. How the hell is he getting in over?
Well, because he played
Diego
well
Luna?
in the U20 CONCACAF that got us into the FIFA World Cup.
Is there a criteria that took Luna out of this for some reason? The number of years he played in MLS or something like that?
Well, that's a good question.
Something that took him out?
No.
Yeah, I mean,
don't necessarily
Diego Luna
know the
also won the Young
criteria.
Player of the Year award. He won the Young Player of the Year award.
Yeah, in MLS.
Yeah. Which means
I think
gotta be
I
on
think
the
the
list
international performances. I don't know.
He's got to be on the list for U.S. soccer.
He should be on the list.
Oh,
maybe because he said he might be open to playing to Mexico. They're like he's out, but I don't know.
All right, these lists are starting to tick
the poll is live. Also, we should mention that with regard to Flo Balogun, he actually re-injured his shoulder.
Yes,
we don't know how long that's going to set him back, but he missed Thursday's training session today, and he may miss the Champions League game against Arsenal, which sucks. Not like he's been out for a while, so it's not like he would have come back and.
Tony, do you ever have any shoulders as a goalkeeper? Any shoulder issues?
Yeah, man, I live every day with two tears in my shoulders now. Yeah, they're terrible, man. That's why I can't sleep at night. I'm rolling over all night, so don't remind me. I'm trying to get to sleep tonight. It's terrible, man. Yeah. It's bringing me down here with shoulders.
An emotional trigger right now for Big Tone talking shoulders. All right, let's look ahead to the weekend. We got some big ones in Serie A in particular. One of them is going to be on the main channel, the Big Daddy, CBS Sports, Juventus versus Bologna. Thiago Motta going up against his former club. We're all excited to watch this one.
Hey, I got
Weston McKennie. Yes, go ahead. Hopefully we'll be starting this one. Go ahead, Chuck.
I got to say, Bologna have kind of turned it around as of late, wouldn't you say?
I mean, yeah, I guess in some capacity. What's also cool is that we have our full crew going there. So you got Poppy, Miller, and you have Matteo Benetti and Grella and Marco Messina. Like everybody's going to be there.
They get all the trips. I'm telling you right now, they get all the cool trips. I don't know how you feel, but I always
listen.
I
have a message on my phone. I probably can't get to it right now from our boss, Mike Nastri, and he says, "I don't know why you're not on this trip." He says to me, "I'm like." Why? Well, probably one of the reasons.
He's the one who makes the decisions.
Darn MLS commitment, he said. And I'm like, there's probably a reason I'm not on this trip is because I wasn't asked to go on the trip. And I'm like, now I got to figure out when they're going on the trips. Grella called me. Mike Grella called me. He's like, dude, when you leaving to go to Italy? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, when are you going to Italy? I'm like, I'm going to LA for the finals. That's where I'm flying. I flew yesterday, obviously. Yeah. And I'm like, did I miss an email, text message, something that I didn't get? They're like, what happened here? But so now Charlie, I'm getting They needed me there.
Shoulders.
Food tasting. We could have done food tasting stuff. We could have sipped a little bit. I don't drink wine, but I could still go there and sip a little. We could have had a cappuccino test. All kinds of stuff.
Wow, a lot of emotional triggers for Tones today with shoulders and now not being invited to Italy. Wow. But Chuck, I did look, and you're right. Bologna have won 4 out of their last 5. They're actually in a little bit better form than Juve. They're currently in 8th on 21 points. Juve in 6th on 26. Juve 4 draws in their last 6 games in the league. They're not losing, but they're not necessarily winning either. I do think they'll find a way to get a result here, but it should be a great one. Again, 12 p.m. Eastern on the big channel, CBS Sports. I guess the question is, Timo Weah is going to start. Thiago Motta loves him. Weston McKennie didn't play in the last game, wasn't even on the bench. Nursing an injury, I assume. But do you think they've improved under Thiago Motta? Chuck, I'll come to you first.
I think they have improved under Thiago Motta. I think when Juve have the ball, it looks a little bit more creative. Players are moving around. I think when you look at the number 9 position, Vlahovic has not delivered the way that Joshua Zirkzee did last year for Bologna. The connection up top, I think Juve would be a lot more beneficial if they had somebody who was in form and consistent in front of goal, because they do generate chances. I think under Allegri, they didn't generate that many chances, and it was because everyone's starting position was so low, and it was predictable as hell. It was ugly the way they played. When you watch Juve play, there's good movement, there's good ball movement, and there's a tempo to it. But it usually ends with nothing, and that's the problem, because they feed it to Vlahovic, they feed it to the number 9, and then you're left wanting something. You're left wanting production. So I think that's the issue right now. But it's definitely a step above what we saw from Allegri. In defensive principles, they've been just as good as Allegri. So from that standpoint, it's not like you're getting anything different on the defensive side of the ball with Juve.
Yeah, they have the best defense in all of Serie A. We'll see if that continues. So
they scored 4 goals. They scored 4 goals the last 5 games. That team, they're boring to watch for me. They really are. I don't. They're good defensively. They're organized. Allegri was a little bit more direct. I still go back to that final last year. I couldn't believe how many balls they thumped in that Coppa Italia final that I went to up the field just aimlessly. Like, I mean, if you were Vlahovic that night, all you were doing was going like this and chasing the ball around the field, because that's all they did. They try and play a little bit more, but still for Juventus to score 4 goals in the last 5 games, I don't care who they play. That's tough, man. They got to be more efficient there.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. I know that Joshua Zirkzee Thiago Motta wants to bring him back to his team and trying to get him from Manchester United. United apparently is saying, no, we're going to keep him for now. We'll keep an eye on that, of course, because that could change the fortune and the outlook of Juve in the back half of the season. All right, let's go to Big Tones' team, AC Milan. They're taking on Atalanta. Atalanta red hot. Only 1 point behind Napoli at the top of the table, and they've won 6 straight games in the league. Gianpiero Gasperini, one of my favorite managers, doesn't take any shit from anybody. But Milan, I don't know which version of them is going to show up, Tones. What do you think? Is it going to be the team that's going to score a lot of goals? I will say Milan, in their last 3 games away from home, including playing at the Bernabeu against Real Madrid in the Champions League, they've scored 3 goals in each of their last 3 games away from home. Might be a little bit different against Atalanta.
Yeah, but they haven't lost in 7 matches, so we're starting to see Fonseca kind of settle some things down. He's finding his rotation, but I still think that we're a little bit short in transition defending. I still think we're a little bit short at the right back position. Emerson Royale's been, poor in games. Calabria is just he's the club captain, which I get, but I never understood that theory. He's getting there, but of course Pulisic and Yunus Musa looks set to start, so we'll look at it from that angle. But Atalanta, man, remember, Atalanta has been the thorn in Milan's side for probably the last 8 years. They've been the one team that has been just a pain in the neck for Milan, and whether it's beating them in games, finishing ahead of them in the table for so many years outside of, obviously we won the Scudetto, but those years prior to that, it was Atalanta. And you're like, where the hell is this Atalanta team coming from? This little side from Bergamo, and Gasperini's just been incredible. I think he's been in Europe either 6 of 8 years or 8 of 10 years, whatever it's been. He's missed out twice since he got there. And if you think about their club and you think about the big ones, the Milans, the Juves, those types of teams, and who they've had to compete with, that record in Serie A is incredible what he's done. But this is a big match. This could be one of those because I think I told you guys last week, I still think Inter's the deepest roster, but I still think this Atalanta side is the best team right now in Serie A. This would be a massive weekend for me. Actually, it's tomorrow, right? Is that game?
Tomorrow.
It's Friday night game.
It's the Friday night game. That's right.
Yeah, it could be a massive weekend for Milan.
All right, so that game kicks off 2:45 p.m. Eastern on Paramount Plus. I am definitely making time for that because that is going to be a great game. It should be a lot of fun, obviously with Yunus Musa and Christian Pulisic involved as well. But let's talk about some players that just played today, Chuck, and Tyler Adams was absolutely fantastic for Bournemouth. And the cherries of Bournemouth beat Tottenham 1-0. They had so many chances, but there was one that got called back. It looked like Tyler had kind of a second assist because it went off of him and went to Evan Nielsen, and they thought they scored. Got ruled offside. But I love Tyler Adams, his closing speed, his recognition of when to close the ball down and how quick he is at closing down space is really, really next level. His situational awareness is off the charts, and I thought he was one of the best players on the field for both teams. And I love that he continues to get 90 minutes and looks healthy. That guy is an absolute beast, and I love Tyler Adams. Your thoughts on his performance?
Well, one, it's the second 90-minute performance.
I love it.
It's encouraging. It's promising. Of course, you got to keep stringing them together. But in terms of just understanding his body, to go from 90 minutes, get ready, prepared for the next 90 minutes, so far so good, right? And all I can say is he is a game changer for us. He can do so many things and put out fires. He's super intelligent. Of course, physically, he's a specimen because he never gets tired. He's tough as hell. The way that he can give criticism to his teammates, like encourage them, but also at the same time, hold everyone accountable. And I think he's underrated with his passing. I think he's underrated with his IQ of timing, knowing when to step, knowing when to drop, knowing when to cover for teammates, because it's so easy to ball watch. It's so easy to just, I want to get involved in the attack and forget about that transition moment ahead of the transition. He's very smart in preventing counterattacks before they happen and finding the outlet of the opposition. So fantastic. Obviously, a long road to 2026, but I am so high on Tyler Adams. I know what a good kid he is, what a good person he is outside of being a top footballer. So let's go.
Let's go, Tyler Adams. We love it. Inject it straight into our veins. All right, let's talk about another player, Jedi Robinson. Big Tones. He was captain once again for Fulham in their game against Brighton at Craven Cottage, and he had an assist, his fourth assist of the season. Jedi just seems to continue to get better and better and better. This is great news for these two players in particular.
Yeah, don't underestimate wearing that captain's armband, right? For Fulham. Clearly, they respect him. The little assist he gave, he gets an assist. I know Iwobi's got some work to do, but that little flick pass in between two players is really neat from him. I think he's gotten better with his crossing over the last couple of years. His engine has always been there. We had this discussion a couple of weeks ago, right, about what's the next level for Anthony Robinson, and it's getting to a Champions League team, right? Getting to a Champions League team that he's playing all the time, and I think he can find it. I'd hate to see him go anywhere that would have him have to restart something for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, where you go to a new club and then you got to restart and you got to convince the manager and you have to do that everywhere. But he's in such a good position right now at Fulham. I'm kind of hoping now, Fulham can at least get into Europe somewhere along. I don't know exactly where they are in the table, which would be best case scenario. Oh, so they're in sixth in the table right now. So it's not as if they're that far away from any kind of European football.
But I think that adds to it, Tony, because if Fulham if he's playing well, he's captaining a side that is doing well, that just boosts his stock even higher, so that Champions League clubs feel that he can do the job, right?
Yeah. We've heard his name everywhere. Remember, there was the failed physical at Milan a couple of years ago, right? When he ends up going there. He's been rumored at Liverpool. He's been rumored at Manchester United over the years. Now, how deep are those rumors? Who knows? But you don't talk about all those things all the time with the same player if some of them aren't true. If at least there's been some interest for a player. So he just continues to get better and better and better. And I saw that great interview recently with him when he talked about now that his family has settled him down and he has a clear picture, a clear idea. It's strange in life, right? How things change for you. And we've all kind of been through those moments where he seems as focused as he's ever been, man. And good on him, because he's we have this captain discussion all the time. Anthony Robinson is not that far away from being a captain for the U.S. men's national team, in my opinion. He's got that leadership. It's Tyler. It's him. Tim Ream obviously has been the captain of the team under Pochettino. You throw Christian Pulisic in there, but then you got to be looking for maybe a quieter captain, if you will. So he's not that far away from the armband with the national team.
Yeah, some fresh round of rumors circulating around Anthony Robinson for Liverpool. So maybe something happens in January. They have Andy Robertson, who's I think they can see is maybe dropped off a bit. Tsimikas but I think Anthony's better than both of those guys, which is awesome to say out loud. And then when I look at Arsenal, I'm just throwing Arsenal in there, Chuck. Urian Timber, I think he's better on the right side. And then they have Zinchenko. Dude, I take Jedi all day every day.
Calafiori.
Calafiori.
Oh, I forgot about Calafiori. Yeah, he's always hurt. You can put him at center back. It's fine. Jedi can hang out on the left side.
But I will add this, though. What we saw from Anthony Robinson under Mauricio Pochettino, right? That's encouraging, knowing that he can play that hybrid left back role, coming into midfield, doing the underlaps, not just being the traditional left back that hugs that touchline and just goes north-south, right? He can come inside, he can combine, and just having the IQ to do that as well, that means he can play for an Arteta. He could play for a Guardiola if that opportunity ever presented itself. So that's encouraging.
It's exciting. I'm excited for
Let's go.
Him. Long may it continue. All right, just to put a button on that poll, Tanner Tessmann won it over Busio, 58%. The chat has spoken, and Tanner Tessmann is the winner. Unlucky for you, Big Tones. All right, we're going to take our
poll was like 3 minutes long. You guys, I didn't vote yet.
Unlucky Tones.
Unlucky, Big Tones. Unlucky. All right, we are taking our last break. Call what you want. When we come back, we're going to hear from Cole Campbell, 18-year-old, plays for the U.S., plays for Borussia Dortmund. He's got some things to say. Don't go anywhere.
If you love football, this is the best time of the year.
This is as big as it gets.
The stuff of absolute dreams.
For me, I want to win a Ballon d'Or in my career, also a Champions League. And, it's also, the biggest tournament in the world is the World Cup, and that's a dream of mine to hopefully win one day. And, just what I've learned in this last year and how much I've grown as a player and as a person, in the next 6-7 years, I can't imagine how much I'll grow and get better. And so, that's my goal, to win a Ballon d'Or and Champions League in my career. And when that happens, I'll be a very happy person.
Okay, I got plenty of time for Cole Campbell's confidence, everybody. Wow. He wants to win a Ballon d'Or. He wants to win a Champions League. And you know what? Let's just throw a World Cup in there as well. That is awesome. So, yes, 18 years old, just made his debut for the first team for Borussia Dortmund. He's played in he's featured in 3 Bundesliga matches so far. He's got 1 appearance in the Champions League, but it's clear his talent is undeniable and a very exciting player. And I think it's just a matter of time before he breaks into our national team. Probably not ahead of 2026. You never know. If he blows up, I would say in the next season, then maybe it's a possibility if there's some injuries or if he's just so undeniable, we'll bring him in. He'd be 19, 20-ish at that point. So I'm not going to say never, but I could see him definitely being the guy for 2030 and beyond. This opens up a part of the conversation. And Tones, I'll come to you because you have had more caps than me and Charlie combined. And what one player did you play with that you thought exuded the same type of confidence as Cole Campbell?
Well, I played in Landon's first game in LA, and talking to him, remember when he was coming from the youth national teams, he was a different type of player, he was quiet, but he was confident. He's a guy that comes to mind. A young Clint Mathis is a guy that comes to mind. You talk about a guy, Cletus would he was confident in what he did. I'm trying to think of some
Chuck's waiting for you to say Chuck, but
no. But what I'm gonna say is Landon Donovan won the Golden Ball at the U17 World Cup. You have legs to stand on if you say I want to be Ballon d'Or winner one day. You were rated the best young player in the world, right? At the U17 World Cup. You can say that, but Cole Campbell, you're 18 years old. And you've played in three Bundesliga matches. You have 18 minutes total. For me, that's a trust me. I'll never be one to be like.
What's wrong with him saying that?
That's what you want.
I'm just.
I want to say I don't want to win the Ballon d'Or. I don't want to win Champions League.
No, what I'm saying is you can say that, but you're putting pressure on yourself from the supporters and the expectations on you now as an 18-year-old. That's what I'm saying. In terms of if he's in the locker room and he's like, guys, and to the coach, my goal is to win Ballon d'Or. My goal is to win Champions League. My goal, then you say, I love that you want that. You want that confidence that you can do it too, that you have to believe that. But at the same time, what I'm saying is, okay, Clint Mathis, Eddie Johnson, these are guys that I remember having the elite mentality of saying, screw playing just MLS or just in the Premier League. I want to be the best player in the world. I want to be the best attacker. And I think I can do that, right? Even if that's wildly unimaginable. They believed it, and it took them further than if they just said, oh, I'm going to settle and be good here, right? So I love that you have to have that mindset to push yourself. But at the same time, is what I'm saying is when you go public and say like that, whoa, because now the expectations on you are to do the extraordinary. And when you're saying you're 18 years old, I want to be a Ballon d'Or winner, and I think I can be. 17 years old, you look across in Spain and you see a Lamine Yamal and what he's doing at 17. It's like, oh, so you're going to beat out a Lamine Yamal, a Florian Wirtz, it's
the list goes on.
Those are lofty expectations, right?
I get it.
A Musiala, like there are other players around that age
that are playing regularly.
Yeah,
also.
Yeah, no doubt. I'd rather him have confidence. I'd rather him say it than like Freddie Adu come out, and I'm not picking on Freddie Adu in his career at all, but have everybody else tell us how good he is. Like, I'd rather him go, this is where I want to be. I want to win the Champions League. I'm at Dortmund. I think I'm going to start here one day. I want to get the Champions League final. I'd rather him do all of that than someone tell us about how great some kid is and blow this kid up. And then he comes, you're like, he's just an average player, like in the end, right? Like he's so, and a lot of it, and this is why I say all the time, because I was there for 5.5 years. The youth national team setups, when you talk about coaches and when you talk about players, like for me, I don't judge anything by U20s, U18s, none of that stuff, right? Because you're not playing with men. In the end, right? You're not doing it. You're not doing it where you're going to get bodied all over the place. And so it's hard to judge. I like the fact that he's been in the first team. They're using him in the first team. He's training every day with the first team. And you gotta have a sparkle in your eye that you can get this thing done. I personally have no problem with it. I'm happy that he says. I'm surprised he didn't say, I want to win 2 Ballon d'Ors just to make sure that I am for the Ballon d'Or, right? So
I love that. I also want to add, I think Clint Dempsey should be on the list. Talk about self-belief and confidence. I mean, that guy has it oozing out of his
career. Yeah, when he came on, 100, you're right, man, 100%. You stunned me. You got to think there's more.
He was a talker, I can tell you that. Clint was a talker.
Clint and I had our first caps together, and then the World Cup in 2006, he started against Italy, and I came off the bench. It was our first World Cup appearances together. So it was cool to kind of be a part of that journey and to see him just take on more and more responsibility. But Clint Mathis, Landon Donovan obviously should be. Eddie Johnson, tremendous. When they're feeling it and on top of it and confident, there's no stopping those guys. Yeah.
Agreed.
Who are the other guys? Who are the other young guys? There's got to be more. Like I can't
came in with a lot of hype and.
Yeah, I think there's a great chat question. Immaculate Intentions. Is Cole already better than Gio Reyna?
As far as Dortmund is concerned, he wanted to add that in, which I think is they're different. I mean, Cole Campbell is more.
Don't sidestep.
I was giving the sidestep motion as well.
Don't sidestep. Give me the answer. Is Cole?
I think Gio's a little more polished than he is right now. Like the injuries are so hard for us. Yeah, they're so hard for us to get out of our mind, the injuries, because they just seem to pile up. But right now, Gio's still a better player. Would it be okay if he turns into a better player in the next couple of years? Hell yeah, it would be, because you've got to think that Gio is going to continue to get better, and maybe he can. Maybe he could do that, but there's still a long way for Cole to go, right? He's got to start games. He's got to play 90 minutes. He's got to be in the team all the time. But I like to start from him. And I'm glad he wants to win 3 Ballon d'Ors in the end.
I love it. I love it. All right. So one last thing before we let everybody go. Ricardo Pepi, I don't know exactly what outlet he did this for, but he got asked to choose an either or. U.S. men's national team legends, goal.com. It was goal.com. This is a goal.com. Did either or U.S. men's national team legends or Mexico legends. So I'll give you an example. Clint Dempsey or Giovanni Dos Santos. And he went Mexican legends on all 8 choices.
Who would you pick in that case, though?
I would take Clint over Gio Dos Santos.
Yeah.
Who would you take?
Yeah, Clint. The only thing that when you talk about Gio Dos Santos, right? He had that moment against the U.S.
Yeah,
in the
he
Gold
had
Cup,
a moment.
right?
I get it. I get
one
it.
moment, right? And then he had a few moments at Barca, right? As a young player, basically supposed to be the next Ronaldinho. I remember playing in the youth tournament that he featured in where Barca beat Chelsea in maybe it was under 16, where he was a star. But he never fulfilled that at a consistent level. So
consistency.
Clint brought it every damn game, every season, and Gio just didn't do that.
Yeah. So
I take Bill and team. I take Clint 100%.
So we have Ivis in our private chat saying that Tony would have done the same thing if we had legends, Italy legends over American legends. You'd go with all the Italians.
He said, "Don't throw rocks
like Maldini or Eddie Pope." You know,
I mean, my God, Tony,
I'm pretty sure.
He might be right, but we didn't have that, so this is what we're talking.
All right, so okay, here we go. Landon Donovan or Chicharito? I'm going LD all day, dude. Chicha's he's become a friend over the last couple of years, but still, I'm going. Sorry, Chicha, but I'm going LD all day.
You can't be you can't be a hater with that.
You can't be a hater. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you could go Chicharito over Landon Donovan. Okay, Tim Howard or Memo Ochoa?
This is Tim Howard.
Tim Howard, easy. That's not even a question. Yeah. But to go back to LD and Chicha, I mean, Chicharito was consistent at Manchester United. He played at Real Madrid. He played at Bayer Leverkusen. This isn't like a.
I wasn't such a slam dunk on Landon Donovan on that.
Yeah,
one,
you made it.
You want Chicharito?
I'm not slam dunking that either.
So that's a close one, man. That's for me. Tight. Yeah. Chicharito had some really good years, man.
If we're talking if we're talking national teams, I think Landon has them on national team.
Oh, is it just national team? Okay,
I don't know.
Yeah,
but if it's club stuff, then I think Chicha comes in for sure because he's had really good.
I was just going by the player.
I think you take both into consideration.
Okay, no, that's good.
Yeah. Tim Howard here. Next slide.
Yeah, next.
All right, Tim Howard. Next. Okay, next one, Michael Bradley easy. Or Andres Guardado.
Ooh.
That's a really good one, too.
2 different types of players.
5 World Cups for Guardado? Did he play 5 or 4? I don't know, but he's a beast.
Yeah, but Michael Bradley was a beast for the U.S.
Oh, yeah, of course. I'm in. I mean,
Michael Bradley go with prime.
Oh, my God. My man was sick. He was ridiculous.
Yeah, and in history, and Michael's had some. We're talking about moments. We're talking about moments. Michael had a lot of great moments against
2010 to 2014. Michael was top.
Yeah, this is a good one though. This is a really good.
As good as Guardado was, I'm taking Bradley in this.
Yeah, Guardado I think was better with the ball. Guardado was a little bit more in getting into the attack a little bit more. Michael Bradley was just a stud of a defensive midman. And I know people still look at the end; it's just different, but they're different players. This is a tough one too, though, man.
I don't think Michael Bradley is given the credit he deserves as he was.
You're right, man. Yeah. And he played in so many places.
He could serve a ball, tough tackler. Fantastic runs out of midfield. He could strike a ball. Just good presence. Obviously, a great IQ. I'm taking Bradley.
Yeah, I'll take him too. Same with you, Tones?
Yeah, I mean, that move to Italy, I think, is really, really underestimated at the time that he moved to Italy, man. That was not an easy move. Yeah. Americans weren't going there.
I see Izzy in the comments here. Bradley was slow and What do you think? Guardado was a speed demon?
Do you really think Bradley in his prime was not slow? I'm sorry. Who'd you say, Izzy? Yeah, look, Izzy just maybe watched the last 2 years in Toronto or something, or whatever it was. But yeah, I think he doesn't get enough shine, for his game.
Yep.
All right, let's go. Jermaine Jones or Hector Herrera? Ache.
I'm taking JJ.
JJ over Ache.
I'm taking JJ all day.
For me, I would take Jermaine Jones. Yeah, in a heartbeat. That attitude he had, bro.
Oh, the commitment. Yeah, it's just undeniable. On the pitch, he will put his life on the line. And not only that, he has the quality. Remember, he started out as a striker. Both feet. That goal against Portugal, I mean, that just highlights what he can do. But just fearless. Absolute monster. This for me is easy, to be honest.
Okay.
The pairing with Michael Bradley. I'm trying to think if there was a better midfield pairing when you played with two, because you played mostly 4-2-3-1. If there was a better midfield pairing that we've ever had on the national team, I got to bet Thomas Dooley was Jermaine Jones. He
Claudio
was that
Reyna
kind of
and Pablo Mastroianni.
Right. That's a good one. Not John as much O'Brien. Bite, and John O'Brien was just technically, injuries again, but technically he's probably, if you think about center midfielders, John O'Brien is probably the best technical midfielder we ever had.
Yeah. Agreed. Unreal. John O'Brien, it's just a pure class.
All right, let's keep moving. We got a couple more. Next one, Kobe Jones. Cuauhtemoc Blanco.
You know what? I love
different teams. By the way,
I love Kobe. Hey,
Cuauhtemoc
Blanco was a force. Are you telling me that the little bunny hop he did with the ball between his feet? Come on, man. That's Cuauhtemoc.
It's not like for like. So in fairness to Kobe, this isn't like for like in terms of like wingers from Mexico. This is a number 10.
Yeah, I hate that.
He hit you with one of those.
Cuauhtemoc.
Woo.
All right, next one. Alexi Lawless, Rafa Marquez.
Come on, man. This is even a real debate. Alexi was even our best defender. How are you going to put him up there?
I know. Marcelo Balboa, baby. That'd be my vote.
Come on.
Rafa Marquez. Yeah.
Marquez, that's it. Close your eyes.
Yeah, I started for Barcelona. 5 World Cups. It's pretty significant. All right, that's it. We're done. We're calling it a show. Yeah, we've already been triggered enough. The show's over. Enjoy your weekends, everybody. Come back and join us on Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on the Golazo America YouTube channel. Hit like and subscribe, do all that good stuff. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you in a few days. Later.